Hello, everyone, and welcome to Infinite Integrations, where infinite possibility meets daily practice. How are you, Jacqueline? So we have Jacqueline Richards. I'm Tanys Coughlan from the Twillo Lifestyle Community, Twillo Lifestyle Academy. Jacqueline is here as the Wealthy Yogini. And you're on mute, Jacqueline. Let's do that. There we go. Now you're not on mute.
I was going to say, I have a quick question. I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am good, thank you. We've had a little bit of a rough start.
The snow. No, it's a snowy start. It's a wet, cold, damp start. But we're here, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Yes. So we are here with you. And today, what are we talking about today? Today we are talking about sacred service. That's our topic. So what does that mean to you, Jack? Sacred service. It says, so this week's integration includes one service reflection and one spiritual activation. So let's reflect on what sacred service means.
I know for me, sacred service, and because I teach yoga, it's not about getting the money. It is about knowing that I'm offering something, a learning. I'm offering tuning for those who are in need. And they may not say it out loud, see it. You can sense it. You know, I recognize when people aren't taking the long, deep breath, lifting their shoulders, taking them back and releasing down, they're holding on to something. They're holding on to people, situations, stress. And me being of service will always be, how are you? How can I help? What's happening with you today? And understanding that I will listen. Sacred service is listening. It's speaking with honesty. It is not being afraid to offer your service, because really it is so incredibly sacred.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, we've just lost her for a moment. So for me, I'll just go into it for myself. So sacred service is really about doing it from the heart, doing, serving from the heart. And it's not about giving just what I want to give. Like, it's sacred service is about what does the other person truly need? Because that's where service starts. It's asking, what do you need today? And then if I can't service it, then also being open to, referring on if there's a service thing that somebody needs something. So I think that is an important thing. And I think when we talk about this, serving from overflow, right? Giving from overflow instead of giving from scarcity. That's a huge concept when we talk about sacred service as well. So, we're still working on getting Jack back. There she is. Hello.
I hope I didn't miss anything, Tanys.
I just went into what sacred service was for me. And for me, it was about giving what that person needs, not just about what I want to give.
I would be speaking of sacred service. I'm not sure I received that sacred service just now as the internet disconnected.
Yeah. It's not what we want. So it's all good, though. You're back, I think. Maybe not. I think we might be having some technical issues here. So bear with us, folks. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just answer a couple of the questions that we had ahead of time. We usually work out some questions. So I'll just sort of answer these and see what happens with with Jacqueline's internet as it's going on. So when we talk about giving, so the question is, when you hear the phrase giving from overflow, what does it mean to you personally and spiritually? So that would be a question for me. So I would say for me, giving from overflow means that I'm not looking at service as being scarce, right? I mean, like, we have the ability to manage our own time. And I think when we're and if you're talking about, energy, for sure, like, we can source energy and create that for ourselves so we can give ourselves energy. I mean, we don't have infinite time. So we do need to, like, prioritize. But I certainly think when we talk about doing it from overflow, meaning that I fill my cup before I give to others. And that allows me that opportunity to be able to give without feeling like I'm in detriment. So I just went ahead, Jack, and asked myself the first question.
Perfect.
So I'm just, I'm just saying how when we're giving from overflow, it's about giving because we want to, because we have the ability to. It's not about giving when we can't, right? It's about giving when we can. And I think that's kind of what that would mean to me. So, so not doing it when you're at your max in terms of time, in terms of resources and that kind of thing. I think giving from an overflow is filling your own cup first so that you can give to others. I think that's what I would say. Yeah.
Always.
That's what I would say for that. So, yeah. You made it back. That's good.
So then, since I'm back with my cup quite full, I'm so glad I'm back. And then I think one of the other questions that we may want to discuss or consider is, when you're coming from a full cup, do you appreciate your intuition? And so I think we've had that conversation where the question is, do you understand? Do you believe that you have intuition? And then for those who believe it to be true, for those who are heart-centered people who could struggle to receive as deeply as they give. So is it from that cup? Is it about the heart-centered people who, if I give you more from this big heart, will that compensate? Will that serve? As we just said, will it serve?
Mm-hmm. But then the other side of that is, what does giving from depletion look like? Especially like in your financial wellness perspective, right? If we're giving from depletion, then we're not giving from overflow. So what does that look like?
I love that you said that, Tanys. I last week I gave a quick presentation about what to do Christmas time. And I think I may have said a little something last week as well. And so parents who want to give gifts, is it always money? Is it always cash flow? Is it always trips? Is it, I will help you travel? When that parent or those parents, those family members haven't done it themselves, they keep thinking, I should, I would, I'd love to, but I've got to give to someone else.
Well,
Wow.
and that's when they're giving from an empty cup, really, right?
Very empty in many cases. Yeah. And I see it, and because I have to be that numbers girl, and I can see that when I sit down with my clients. It's so you make this amount of earnings every single year, and the intention is always to put at least 10% away. And I will say, perhaps that wasn't easy this year. Will you tell me a story? And I'm there with open ears. That's my service. I will listen. I asked a question and hope that it's an honest answer I will receive. And that answer is often, well, I wanted to give them a gift because they graduated university or high school or middle school. It could be it too. And so I wanted to do something. They'd been looking through the magazines and they'd seen exactly what they wanted and they found it. And I thought I would do it. I'm a good parent. I want to do that. Even though that good, groovy parent didn't have enough to pay their property taxes.
Yeah.
I get to see that. I ask that question. The next question is, and what shall we do? How do we fill that cup so that you can get things that you need to get done?
Mm-hmm.
Debt is not evil. Debt is an opportunity to think about what's next.
Yeah. I think, in our times right now, it's a difficult thing because finances are challenging at the moment for so many. And, we used to do Christmas, and we would, at Christmas or the holidays, whatever it is that you celebrate, if you're giving gifts at this time of year, we used to do gift giving from homemade things. Why not go back to that? Things that are not,
Exactly.
that it's the effort that you're putting in rather than the amount of money you're spending. I really appreciate that, the effort that people put into things.
Well, it's, we've heard that we often have not cookie potlucks, but cookie potlucks. So everyone makes a dozen cookies, 12 cookies. Some of us make 13 because that's the way we are. So we'll make 13 cookies, put it in a groovy little bag. And here it is. Here's a recipe for the cookie. I hope you enjoy it. And that is our gift. Now, I know between you and I, we can make dozens of cookies because of for me, it's about a meditation as I stir and I relieve the ingredients into a beautiful bowl. And I have the heat from the oven that continues to cook it. And then I take that beautiful breath. I lift my shoulders. I take them back. I drop them down. I think, I hope that they appreciate it as much as I do. I will tell you a story. One Christmas, as a single mom, and it's me and my little girl, and we had like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Like it was that tiny, that perfect. And for Christmas, I made origami animals. And so the animal would have a penny. When we had pennies here in Canada, so I'd make, a swan, and I'd put a penny by the swan, and then I make a duck, and I put a dime by the duck, and then I'd have its water placed on the table. And that was my gift. And it was interesting, the conversation. Oh, what's this, Mom? Oh, what's this? Should we go sailing, Mom? Like the conversations that you get to have with things. I did not go out to the store to buy a gift. It needed to come from the heart. And at that moment, it certainly did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It'd be interesting if she remembered that.
Well, I can remember, like, we did go out to buy this stuff, but it was when dollar stores were just dollar stores.
Yeah.
And I remember my son, we were working on teaching him, the value of money and the, gift giving. But we didn't want him to be going out, and he didn't really understand money yet, right? So we're talking 4 to 7 years old. Well, 7 he was starting to, but 4 years old to 6 years old kind of thing. And so we would take him to the dollar store. He would make a list of the people he wanted to buy for, and we would talk about, why you wanted to get those people a gift, and we would all of that stuff. And then we would go out, and he would be able to pick something from the dollar store. And it would be something, of course, it was not a lot of money. It was $1 and tax for each person. But he knew that he had picked it out specifically for that person. And that's that, giving from the heart piece, Another year we made ornaments. Christmas
beautiful.
ornaments from home. We did end up, I think, buying the wood, but then he painted his own images on, and we wired them up, and so people could put them on their tree, that sort of thing. So those kinds of things, they're lovely, and I think that we could do more of that.
Yes, we could, because each and every one of those ornaments, each and every one of origami, because I signed them, Santa signed them, and there's a story to be told about it. And isn't that interesting that it was a year later, it was 10 years later, it was a quarter century later. And I don't know about you, I imagine perhaps those who received your son's gifts may still have them. But when you pull them out and you recognize, I have mine on the tree, and you recognize it, that was that day, that was that year that this happened. Yeah. And most often it's a smile it puts on your face, your aura changes when you have, fingers crossed, those beautiful memories of a gift that was given. And there was no requirement for it to be a dollar amount. I think it was a heart amount.
Yeah, it's a heart amount, right?
Yeah.
And we can give from overflow, heart overflow. So, and we have Kaylee is on. Hi, Kaylee.
Hey,
she says, Kaylee. Speaking of service, most of the gifts I'm giving this year is my time. So like Reiki sessions, hand making things, which she does a beautiful job, by the way. Yes, and that way she doesn't have the after Christmas panic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
And we
She's
do
very
talk
talented.
about that. Well, when you get gifts from her, it is, again, they're not just made with love, they're blessed. And I imagine that the energy that flows from those gifts, people feel it.
Definitely.
Those humans who received it, not just said, thank you so much. They will continue to say thank you over the course of this season, depending on where they store it. It could be every day.
Yeah. She's a talented artist, and I have a piece of her work on my wall in my treatment room, and it brings that beautiful energy in with it, so it's and I see it every day. So it's a lovely way
sometimes
to
ask how
express that.
It is, and I hope she appreciates it too. I know when we make things, we usually remember who we made it for, why we did it. Sometimes we add cards to it, and there could be. She's extraordinary, and we know that.
Yeah.
And I remember as a little girl, there was a certain time when we had to go grocery shopping. Oh, that too. But shopping for gifts. It was this time, these places, because we only had so much gas in the car. There was a moment where we took the bus to our destinations. So it got a little chilly, so you dress appropriately. It's awesome when you have those memories. I mean, it could be, it was so cold. I can't believe we did that. And then you get home and you have a cup of, my fingers were always crossed that not hot chocolate. For me, it was apple cider. Apple cider
very nice.
Does such wonderful things to the heart. And so those were my boundaries. I could do chocolate milk, but it didn't do well. The body said, love you, but not today.
Yeah. So apple cider's better.
Way better. And so, it's interesting. Those are my boundaries. People who love chocolate milk, love it. Some don't understand. Well, why can't you? I will tell you, those are my boundaries. And it's not just about spending money. It's about doing what's worthy of my body and my mind, my spirit.
Yeah. Well, and that's, when we have our boundaries, that's how we're giving from overflow as well. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Kaylee mentioned about, giving Reiki sessions and stuff. So she needs to do her own work in all of that to make sure that when she's giving her Reiki sessions, and this would be for me as well, right? When we do our own work and we're doing energy healing, we have to do our own work. Because if we're trying to support others and we have an empty cup, we will feel depleted. Mind you, Reiki, we channel. So I always get stuff from that anyways. But if you're doing other stuff, right? If you're doing shamanic work and stuff like that, then, you're actually doing journeys and stuff like that. That takes energy. So we have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. I mean, Reiki, I always feel better because we actually just channel source energy. It's not ours. So that's why I love my job. But it's
no, but how
I get filled up at the same time, right?
Exactly. Okay, so for those of us who are watching this right now, when you're doing something, when you have, and it's not about a job, when you're doing something that brings you joy.
Yeah.
Does that make you smile? Would you write about it and say, you know what I just did? I loved how it felt. I loved how it smelled. I loved the way it made me see the world in a different light. For me, that's when I'm teaching the vision board sessions. While it is about a service I offer, I feel like $1 million because I see some of my experiences when I had done my own vision board, and I look at it and I think, I dated that. That was in 2012 that happened. But I did my dream board in 2005. And so that when I look at that, when I see people expressing, this is what I'd like to see in my future. Some of them, it's in their present.
Mm-hmm.
Kaylee's doing that right now. So are you.
As are you. Yeah. We have, there's so much happening. And, it's this sacred service, this concept of sacred service. So what does that mean to you?
Sacred service generates energy. And it doesn't matter if my feet have been doing a lot of walking and I really need a pedicure. Sacred service and that energy that flows was meant to be. We look at many of the people who we see and speak about in various religions. They were of sacred service in their minds. They had to be of service. It was a requirement for them to give openly. Sacred services, and I would talk about it in my sessions about once upon a time when immigrants came to the land and they didn't have money, but they traded beads, they traded herbs, they traded their services, like Kaylee's trading her services. It was a requirement so that if I trade, you can be better. Let me give that to you. I have bags of these. Let me offer it to you. Yeah. And while you may not have asked for something specific, whoever that was offered to would do exactly what you did. They're giving from their sacred service. They have it, they offer it. I keep thinking, Tanys, wouldn't it be great if they had, I don't know, a box of chocolates? Not just chocolate bars, but chocolates. Dark chocolates. That would be great. So you have yoga from me. I will take chocolate from you, and together we'll melt and bond. Or you will share, melt and bond.
So I thought I would just look it up, sacred service, and see what you think about these options.
Okay.
Because I think it's fascinating, the concept, because sacred is all about something that is very, very special and deep, and it's soul felt. usually, right? That's the sort of the concept of sacred service. So this says, what is sacred service? Sacred service is the act of giving your energy, gifts, and presence in a way that honors your soul, respects your boundaries, and uplifts others without draining you. So it's service rooted in alignment, love, reciprocity, and purpose, not rooted in obligation, guilt, and self-sacrifice. Sacred service is not about doing more. It's about being anchored in who you truly are while you serve.
Yeah.
So
And
that's a
and
beautiful way to look at it.
I hope that somehow you will send that out, because I know that if we read, observe, maybe even sing about it, I know there's a melody that could go with that. Appreciate that what was just said. Can you imagine 365 days, well, 366 if we have a leap year, where people are considering living life just like that? There were 3 words that you said in that explanation that I thought, yeah, that's deep. That could be painful.
Alignment, love, reciprocity.
No, those are
Not
the ones I love.
okay. So it's not doing it out of obligation,
Obligation. Mm-hmm.
or guilt, or
Yeah.
self-sacrifice.
Exactly. When people, people who use those 3 words and live those 3 words, and let us be of service to those humans who you see using those words, and forgetting about their boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hold.
Yeah. And that's depleting when we give without boundaries. It's depleting of our energy. It's depleting of our emotional state, all of those things, because we're not doing it for the right reasons. And, Kaylee says sacred service is doing, but not for the sake of ego, out of love.
Exactly.
So, doing it out of love instead of out of fear, because the ego is really fear-based, right? So doing something because you really love the person, or you really love what you're doing, that is sacred service.
It's interesting. I've seen families, the bigger the gifts, the happier the people they give it to will be. Isn't it the other way? The bigger the gift, the happier that ego will be. It's like, and people recognize that. Humans recognize that. Mm-hmm. Kids, adults, our elders recognize that. I will say to you, if they received an origami, would that be just as great as having, I was going to say a car. I don't know about that one. But wouldn't that be just as great as
depends
having
what they need, I suppose.
Exactly, a chocolate bar. There's it's Saint Laurent shopping mall, and that's a shopping mall here in Ottawa, Canada. And a good friend of mine who's a lawyer would take photos and comment on Facebook that every day she'd wander into her office, but the stand that's in front of her office was an origami, multiple colors. So every day, every moment she'd go in, she'd open her office, but there would be an origami animal on that stand. And someone decided it would be beautiful that all of the real, all the stores had one of those to welcome them in.
Beautiful.
So no one knows who did it. And nice? Here it is. Is there ego there? Or I think it's love. And wouldn't it be great to have it back to my 365 days? Every day, a gift without requirements to say, hey, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Let us honor it.
Interestingly enough, so actually this pendant that I wear all the time, This is a sacred gift for me. This was given to me. It was put in my mailbox with a beautiful message about how much of a difference I make in the world. It was not personal. Like it wasn't like a personal message because it was put in my mailbox anonymously with this beautiful gift. And so when I wear it, it reminds me of the sacred friends that I have. I know now who did give it to me, and have of course thanked them. But the fact that they did that without putting it in there, like without putting their name on it, it's a beautiful sacred gift in that way. They weren't looking for I I figured it out, and so they weren't looking for recognition. They didn't want to tell me at first, but that's part of why I wear this necklace. I mean, it is my logo as well, but it's because of how it came to me as a sacred gift, right? So,
wow, doesn't that amplify? It's like that you can speak to that. It was someone, no name, has a name, that decided it's just something I need to do.
mm-hmm.
Think about it. You open the door for someone to walk through. You didn't have to, and you did. Mm-hmm. You didn't need to stop and let that person have the parking space that you were coming into. You paused and you let it happen. So yes, you took the parking spot that's a little further, but that's okay. Maybe you needed the walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love generating that sort of joy.
Yeah. And some of it's perceived value is the other part of this, right? How do we perceive gifts? How do we perceive the value of gifts? So that's a big part of this when we're looking at it. If we're perceiving a gift as being expensive and that makes it good, then that's that person's perception of it, right?
Yeah.
For me, the perception is more about the meaning behind it, that soul, that sacredness of it.
Yeah.
In terms of the gift, right?
Appreciate that. I know for me, I have the privilege of working with young adults who are buying their first homes. And it's when you had originally said in the beginning of the show that it's been financially difficult for a whole lot of people to have mm-hmm. the holidays and to buy gifts. Well, these young humans who are working really hard to find a way to have a down payment to buy a home. Yeah. It's beautiful that family members put together money and say, here's our mm-hmm. gift to you. Not the complete down payment, but at least part of the down payment to help them along. I've seen that a number of times over the course of this year to find the most perfect house for the most perfect time. Mm-hmm. And so they were gifted. And so there's a letter that needs to be signed saying that it is a family gift for some part of the down payment, and it will not be paid back. It is a gift. It's in the notation.
Yeah.
So those family members collectively allowed it to be not a difficult moment to give that to them. And here they are. There's tears in their eyes. They took the keys to the house. They had the family over to say thank you. And that will always be remembered. Mm-hmm. It is.
And that's an example of the perceived value even being higher than the value of the home.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They're safe. Roof over their head, and family that can pop in and sleep over. Yeah. Family that can bring, I don't know, their favorite. See, for me, my favorite item would be if they made Thai noodles. That would be great. Mm. And for those who knit and those who crochet, we know those people who made quilts.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've got, exactly, I've got spare things to put together so I could do that too. And so while it's not a big ticket item, it could be a big ticket item for someone.
Mm-hmm. It's that perceived value.
Yeah.
And Kaylee has a question here. So would sacred service play into people's love languages? I would say, well, let's leave that up actually. I would say there would be a component of that, yeah. Because if you're showing love to somebody in their love language, that means you've taken the time to figure out what their love language is. So that's value as well, just understanding somebody's love language, right? And it could be when we're talking about doing it as a sacred act for you, it could be, what is your love language and what are you giving in your love language? So, it could be both sides of that. What do you think?
It's interesting to know what your love language is. I don't want to say it's a title, but it's kind of a title. There's 5 love languages. And for you to understand what yours is, if you're not getting it and you didn't know the language, that's up to you to know what your love language is. What am I looking for? For me, if maybe I'm not looking for a chocolate bar, maybe I'm really looking for a beautiful bottle of water. I need to know what my love language is so that I can let others know what my love language is. This is the season. So it would be not that you need to have big signs that says, here's my love language. I think people who want to know will ask. I think understanding what your love language is, and then your family members, their love languages too. Conversations happen at the dinner table. Wouldn't it be great to have an understanding about how you might want to communicate with some of the family members? They could be our elders who are always there. Do we know what makes them happy? Do we know what honors them? For some, it's a hug. Just give me a hug. Mm-hmm. For them, it could be, do you like my hair? Do you like my hair? Compliment me on my hair. Come on. Yeah. It could be, I wrote a letter to you. What did you think of the letter I wrote to you? I'm reading this book. What do you think? Do you read? Why don't you come and visit me next week? There's so many opportunities to figure out what makes people smile, because then we'd know what their love language is.
So Victoria's asking what the 5 love languages are. So they're words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts. So that's part of what we've been talking about. Quality time, and physical touch. Yeah. So those are the 5. And if you want to look up further, it's 5 love languages were created by Dr. Gary Chapman. And so this is about ways that people, but the main thing about it is that when we're talking about sacred service, it's about love languages that the love creates the sacredness, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So when you're giving the love language, that's the connection, right? Yeah. Having the love and putting love into something, and whether it's your love language or their love language, you're speaking the language of love. And so that makes it sacred service. But if we're doing it and it's not filling our cup to do it, and we're resenting doing it, that's not sacred service, right? If we're doing something out of obligation, that's not sacred service. So that's where there's a fine line there, and that's about Very knowing fine. What you have and what you're capable of, what you're willing to give without that sort of resentment feeling, and that's knowing your boundaries.
It's interesting. Yeah. I worked with a group called H Trio, and anyone who's worked with H Trio, we were quite, I guess it was really across Canada we were together, and we had these cards, and I would go grab them, but they're cards and they are colored cards, and it depends, and the colors kind of chakra in color. So you've got your green cards, and that's about the anahata, the heart. You've got your purple cards, which is instinct. You've got your yellow cards, which is about your courage. You've got the red cards that are about what is your purpose, what is your I am. It's about the flow, which is yellow, and blue. How do you think? How do you speak? So those cards have a question that represents each of those. Now, appreciate how you're going to know what your family members are all about when they're answering those cards.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't this a season to play, to engage, to play games? I love them. And it's not, they're not cards that you play poker with. They are questions that you get to ask. It doesn't matter what the age is, age 2 to age 22 to age 82 to age 102. Those are questions that could be asked, whether they're at your dinner table or maybe they're at, you decided to pop into the retirement home. And perhaps you're visiting a family member who has a lot of friends in the retirement home, and you bring those cards and you play that game. Ask that question or those questions.
Well, and people want to be heard too.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So when you ask questions and you listen and you're present, that is also sacred service in that sense. So so here's another one that it's sticking out to me as one that we should talk about. And it's, how do you discern the difference between genuine service and self-abandonment disguised as generosity? How do we discern the difference between genuine service and self-abandonment disguised as generosity? So that's giving from an empty cup, I think. So self-abandonment is like when we're giving because we've shoulded ourselves into it, right? We kind of tend to should ourselves.
She said that word, ladies and gentlemen, should us. She shoulded herself.
Should. I should do this because if I don't, it's going to be this. And so that's that fear, right? So when we self-abandon, we don't look at our needs. We do something even though we're exhausted, and we have someone that really wants us to do something, but we're exhausted.
Exactly. If I could use that, we're exhausted, and a family member has called you. So you're tired. It's been a really long day. Someone calls you, a family member, a friend, really it's a work colleague who called and said, I need you to pick me up and take me home. Something's happened. I need you to do this. Would you do this for me? You're exhausted. So you do get in the car. And with gratitude, you make it there. They say, I'm so sorry to ask you of this. You look kind of tired. Can I get you a coffee on the way home? Fatigue could have been dangerous, but got in the car. When you talk about abandonment, it's like, got to do this. Could they call someone else? Maybe. Could they take a taxi? Maybe. Do they have the funds to do that? Maybe. But they called someone who they trusted. And I think often when we are that person who's trusted, we'll do anything. And so they get there. I don't know if a coffee would work. I don't know. But here it is. Sometimes.
Well, and I think that's, we have to think about that, because that in that particular case, you're also dealing with the fact that you love this person, or you like them at least, or you wouldn't do it. So there is that component of it, right? You may be really tired, but if you have enough energy to do this, am I going to do it anyway? Because I have this love for this person. So you're doing it out of love for them, as opposed to doing it because you are obligated to do it.
Because if you don't do it, They will think ill of you.
Right. Then that's fear.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's fascinating, isn't it? And it's that thing that I always say, lead with love and let love lead you, because that's both sides of it, right?
Yeah.
Lead with love, meaning do with love, and let the love lead what you do.
So we're talking about this, and I'm thinking about people in retail, in the retail stores, and they're selling a product that they don't believe in, but it's in their store. And people have come in and said, "Oh, you've got a sale on it, and I would like to pick it up. And yeah, I'll take 2 of those." Do you say, "Are you sure you want to buy those? Perhaps you'd like to find it in another store, another item that might do you better than this one." Would we say something like that, or do we continue with the sale?
Well, that's an ethical thing, right? And are you doing it because you're fearful? If you do sell it to them, are you doing it because you're fearful of losing the job?
Yeah.
That
Well,
could
didn't
be.
you just abandoned
Your own integrity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the stories we could tell.
So I think that is the invitation for this week, right? It is. So that's our reflection. It's related to our reflection for this week. List
Good.
3 ways you naturally give to others. Then identify 1 way to give to yourself in equal measure this week. Balance begins within.
Tanys said equal measure. Write that down. Equal measure.
You can't give from an empty cup. So you
Be
fill
good
your
to
cup.
you. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so as usual, we are coming to the end of our time. So I do have an activation for you. So please close your eyes. Deep breaths.
Not the end.
Deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as Jacqueline says, raise your shoulders up. Put them back. And I want you to visualize crystalline light.
I took a deep breath.
Good. I want you to visualize crystalline light pouring through your crown and filling your heart before radiating outward as a reminder that true service begins from wholeness. So, this is the activation. I give from overflow, never from emptiness. My service is sacred, replenishing and aligned with divine purpose. So be it, and so it is. So, as you go forward,
I like that one.
So as you go forward, please remember that balance begins within. And oh dear. Kaylee says audibly just said,
"What's so dear?"
That's toughy. It's that giving and receiving, because we tend to have difficulty with receiving sometimes too. So,
well, that's like accepting a compliment.
Yes.
Tanys, I love your necklace.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. And perhaps one of the questions, like, oh, you know what, that is we can do it. The collective, we can do it. Prosperity supports purpose. It's not opposing purpose. And I would love for us to think about prosperity is about supporting your purpose. When we think about winning the $1 million, which we could win the $400 $30,000, whatever it is, whatever the winnings are, let it support your purpose.
So as you think about sacred service,
There's always winnings.
what is your purpose? What is your sacred purpose? What do you do for love itself? So thank you all for joining us this week. We're sending you tons of love. Please come back and join us again next week for Infant Integrations. Have an awesome week, everyone.